Welcome back for another video. Free hit is active, and what a hectic midweek round of games it was. 57 points for me, and I'm recording this with Man United versus West Ham, the final match remaining of the game week, where of course the team's still got Bruno captain left to play. So yeah, some regrets there in not going with Haaland captain, who did produce a goal and 2 assists against Fulham, which was quite a surprise actually, because Fulham have been immense in home fixtures this season so far. The other disaster class was Truffert, really. I mean, he did hit DEFCON before half-time, and he actually had a great game. He was on maximum bonus, which would have been an 11-pointer until that Everton goal. But if you recall, the other player that I was looking at was Van Hecke. And I basically fancied Bournemouth to have slightly better clean sheet odds, probably thought it'd be a tighter game. And I thought if anyone's going to get an attack in return and hope to get lucky in 1 week, Truffert was the likely one. It did come quite close, but of course Van Hecke goes and scores a brace. You can't write it. I'm just going to have to move on and get over that one. Bit of a crazy outlier game. And I know a fair few of you have said that you still went for Van Hecke, so I'm glad quite a few of you got those points. Munoz with a big carry, 14-pointer after a goal and a couple of bonus points, and he's now the top scoring defender in the game. It really could have been a lot worse this game if not for him. Second top scoring defender is still Gabriel. Guehi's third, Aqua's fourth. It's crazy from Palace, 3 of the top 4 defenders of Palace, or 5 of the top 10. Anyway, all in all, a game week to forget, unless of course Bruno manages to haul against West Ham. He would need a goal and assist and a clean sheet point to even match Haaland, so that'll take some doing. It's a juggling act, like when to play template and when to split off from it, and it did feel like an opportunity without the hindsight to go against Haaland, but yeah, massively punished. But let's see how that final match goes anyway. The free hit is active for Gameweek 15, the final chip for me in the first half of the season. Let's run you through the team. Now, the challenge with the free hit at this time of the season is obviously the schedule and the random rotation. Like, a lot of us thought we were relatively safe, and yeah, in my case, for example, Thiago and Saka both benched midweek. Fortunately, Saka did score, but yeah, the Thiago benching as well, I didn't see that coming. So, the point I'm making is I've got a call to make on the Man City defenders. I'd love to have O'Reilly or Vardy if I knew that either were definitely starting. Sunderland are no pushovers, and Pep might even go full strength again, but they do face Real Madrid in the Champions League next week, so they've got that to contend with as well. So all things considered, I've landed on Donnarumma in goal. The back three is Hull, Burn and Anderson. The Newcastle defence is a difficult read as well. Maybe I'm overthinking it a bit. Like, there's Hull, Burn, Cielo, Livramento. They've all got their merits. I've landed on Hull and Burn. Hull's my favourite, the Newcastle defenders. He's really attacking, 7 assists last season. And Burnley have conceded 197 crosses down their right flank, which is 43 more than any team. Their left flank has conceded 155, which is also worse in fairness, but that's only 2 worse than the next worst. 64 key passes conceded down Hull's side is also the most in the league. And then I've landed on Burn. Howe absolutely loves him, and he basically never misses a game. Like, he's a real leader in the team, and obviously a huge aerial threat as well. The clean sheet odds have got Man City top with 50%, and then Newcastle just behind second, 48%, and then it's Brighton and Arsenal joint third, 38%. Basically, what I've done is I've stacked the midfield, which has left me with minimal funds for the back. I could go for someone like Timber, who was benched against Brentford, so that adds to his appeal, because he without a doubt starts against Villa. Though Mosquera and Rice both went off injured. Rice, I believe, said he's going to be fine, but Mosquera will have to see. Saliba was shaking his head like he's potentially not going to be back next game either, so maybe this is an opportunity to have a try against the Arsenal defence on a free hit. The final spot could be Anderson or Van Hecke in the starting 11. I was surprised to see Palace go full strength against Burnley, and I think this could be a really tough game for them. Again, it might be an opportunity to have a try against Palace. Mateta came off at 63 minutes. He could have poor minutes again. They've still got Europa Conference League coming next week. Very, very busy schedule for them. Fulham did concede 2.17 XG to Man City at home, but previous games they've been stellar. 0.17 conceded to Sunderland, 0.24 to Wolves. Before that it was Arsenal, only 0.55 XG conceded, 0.6 against Brentford, 0.79 against Leeds, 1.63 against Man United to start the season. They have had some easy games, but I mean, they really gave Arsenal a tough game as well, so I've gone with Anderson, and of course he is one of the best in the league for DEFCONs per 90. The latest standings have got Senesi top still, 12.45 defcons per 90, and then Anderson second with 11.24, and Laquan moves up to third with 10.71 after hitting it midweek against Burnley, and then it's Stev, Van Dijk, Collins, Tarkowski, Richards and Mukiele. The midfield is Mbeumo, Bruno, Gordon, Foden and Saka. Man United versus Wolves is another potentially golden fixture to target, so I've doubled up with both Mbeumo and Bruno. You can make the case for tripling up with Cunha as well on a free hit, against his old team as well, and I honestly don't mind that. Instead I've opted for Gordon basically, so let's talk about him. Now obviously he's not been great this season by his standards compared to last season, and the crucial thing this week is getting a read on players' minutes. He came off the bench and he scored a pen, and my gut feeling is there's a good chance that he starts this one in left wing, or maybe even up top, but I'd be quite surprised by Voltemada rest. He is their pen taker, as we know. It's Burnley home, so I really want to target it with an attacker, though I do think triple defence again is viable on a free hit. Newcastle would just strike me as one of those teams as well that can be so ruthless. Like last season, on 4 occasions they scored 4+ goals at home. I think it was the season before. I didn't remember when they beat Sheffield United 8-0. I believe that Sheffield United one was an away fixture, but again, that season they scored 4 or more goals at home on 6 occasions. So part of me wants to leave an attacker in and go double defence, as opposed to tripling up at the back. Foden could be a slight risk, but it would be naive for Pep to rotate out his second best player for this game. Miss Sunderland just came to Anfield and they walked away with a point. They're a serious team. So although there's always a risk of Man City attackers, he's got to be in after back-to-back braces, hasn't he? Could be a week too late with him, but it'd be daft not to have him on a free hit on current form. He'll no doubt be the most bought player this week. And lastly, Saka, who I was quite on the fence about including, and I had originally looked at the triple up with Cunha, or maybe Minte, though he did get the rest against Brentford, and he came on and he scored as well to put the game to bed. So that rest has tipped it for me, and he's the final midfielder. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists in his last 6 games against Villa. Quickly up front then, and of course it's Haaland who gets the captaincy. It's pretty slim pickings as far as forwards on a free hit. Like Thiago was another one who did get that rest midweek. He came on second half against Arsenal, though it is Spurs away, which is okay, but it's not incredible. Voltemada, as I say, is also an option, but I'm actually going for Gordon instead. Welbeck, I think, looks great actually. Again, he was on the bench midweek and Brighton's loss against Villa, which I think is something I could take advantage of on a free hit, because I expect him to come back into the 11. 7 goals this season, he's on pens, so it makes a lot of sense with the fixture and the price. Minte, I mentioned earlier, I think he's a really good pick as well, but there's just no way to squeeze him into my midfield, so Welbeck gives me an alternative route into that attack. Man City are top this week for projected goals with 2.6, and then it's Newcastle close behind with 2.5, and then Brighton are third on 2.0. And then Liverpool, Man United and Chelsea. Liverpool were basically unchanged in that draw against Sunderland. I mean, Salah being benched again was quite a shock, and it's just as well really, because if he had started that one and smashed it, I might have got baited into picking him. The bench is Wright, Van Heck, Stev and Mark Q. Annoyingly, I'm 0.1 million short of Dubravka, who would have been quite handy as a backup keeper just in case. I can move a Stev to a 3.8mm defender that won't play to afford Dubravka, but it just makes more sense to have insurance against outfield players. So the main players that are in consideration that didn't make the draft, Cielo and Livramento of course as alternative Newcastle defenders. Cunha is definitely an option as well to go triple United midfield. Minte as well I mentioned earlier, but I think I'd probably rather Cunha over him realistically, so I just can't see him making it in. Tarkowski plays Forest home, and I really like that fixture, basically for that mixture of clean sheet and defcon potential for him. Timber, I mentioned earlier, he was in consideration, and that benching does add to his appeal for me on a free hit, but Arsenal missing Gabriel, possibly Saliba still, maybe Mosquera now as well. If Arteta was to say in his press conference that Saliba's back and available, I'm still not sure if I'd sacrifice Welbeck or one of the mids. I mean, are any of those better than Timber? It is a high risk, high reward free hit in a way, because the Palace and Arsenal defence has got really high ownership collectively. So a clean sheet from either team, Arsenal or Palace, is basically a lot of points scored by other teams against my team. If you're tight for money, then one way you could free up money here is the other Newcastle defenders, like Chow, or you could go for Livramento, or maybe Cunha over Mbeumo or Saka. Man City fans, do let us know in the comments what your read is on the Sunderland game in terms of rotation. How much will we see? We'd all benefit from that insight. And likewise, any Newcastle fans, I'd love to know what your read is on the defence and Gordon. So that's my free hit team. I will be back again tonight with the experts video, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss out on what the top all-time managers are doing this week. I'll see you soon for the next one.